set in a fantasy world similar to Game of Thrones and Netflix originals The Witcher and Cursed. The world is separated by a dark cloud known as the Fold. It's full of dangerous creatures and was created centuries before the show began by a Grisha named the Black Heretic. In this world, people with abilities are known as the Grisha and are shunned because of the actions of the Black Heretic. The show follows Alina Starkov, a cartographer who's in charge of mapping out parts of the Fold when they enter in, whose world is shaken when she finds out she is a rare Grisha. Let's start with the good, the world building. This show has like Avatar: The Last Airbender world building. Because of the Fold, the once a nation that was once one is separated to different tribes, and they have the first army, which is regular people who use guns and knives and weapons, and who they work with the Grisha, but they resent them because of the Fold, and they know that a Grisha created it. The second army, which is full of Grievas there in Ravka, is a palace and a place that Grisha stay to stay safe because they are hunted by the other nations that are separated by the Fold. A lot of the world building that happens in the show, it's done by different storytelling techniques, and I really like that because normally in fantasy shows like this, think the world building is built by a character dumping a bunch of exposition to another character or talking to themselves about it in an unnatural way. They tell the story during conversation, during events. If a character is trying to learn a new technique and they didn't even know the history of it, you get little things like that where you get taught what happened before the show began, and if it fulfills and makes the world feel richer, feels lived in. Also, another part of it is during the action, humans are undermanned when they're fighting another Grisha, but you see certain humans have certain things that they do to combat them having powers. So, and you can tell that these are things that were created recently because they faced these Grisha so many times, but now they have certain techniques to keep them to be able to survive, and sometimes defeat them, sometimes just to get away and run. So a lot of things like that really gravitated me into the world and wanted to know more about it, what's going on, why the Black Heretic did what he did, and why no one is able to get rid of the Fold. Another thing that helps the world building is the great movie level CGI and practical effects that they use in the show. All the powers that they use, people the Grisha use, most of them are to repair things. Most of the Grisha aren't battle ready. They fix wounds, change clothes, can do your hair with just a flick of their wrist. But the ones that are ones that can do harm to other people, like someone that can use shadow, someone that can control fire, someone that can control light, people who can manipulate your heart. They're called heart renders. The CGI and the VFX that are used in the show are beautiful, and they wow me almost every time. And another thing that's great about it is because the battles in the show, because the way the show starts off, you think that like this show could be kid friendly, but the battles are gruesome and really brutal. And the way they use their powers, sometimes chopping people in half, is just really great, and it really brings like an impact to the powers, where there's like you might see a CGI wave and it feels like it's weightless, but once it hits somebody and chops them in half or blinds someone and siege their eyes, it really brings some weight and makes it feel real. One of the best things about the show are the characters, and that's what you're going to be watching the show for mostly, because there's not a lot of fighting in the show, but when there is, it's really great and really well shot. But most of it is a character walking from one place having a conversation, walking to another place having a conversation, and those moments aren't boring because of the characters. We have royal characters like the king and the queen and all their followers. Then you have the Grisha and their systems and how they follow their leader. And also you see where the main character, Alina Starkov, comes from and how she's treated and how she's shunned, not because they don't even know that she's a Grisha, just because she's part Shu, which I think in this show are people from Asia. And it seems like those people turned their back on the rest of the world and kind of went off and did something else, and they consider them people who are betrayers. They betrayed everybody else. The main character, Alina Starkov, she usually in a show like this person would be naive. She would be not capable. She would be a damsel in distress that the male protagonist would have to save. But she's very capable in this show, and she's very loving. She's very caring. She tries to give people the benefit of the doubt. But when she gets information, she doesn't just take it and just move it away like some characters would and continue to trust the person. She moves accordingly, and I appreciate that. She's very scrappy, and she just draws you in. And the actress is very expressive and draws you into the moment that you're supposed to have. If she's having an intimate moment with someone, she makes this really good, flirtatious look. When she's supposed to be scared, you can see the fear in her eyes. When she's shocked, you can feel it really well. It really draws you in. She's the avatar for us. Even though she's been living in this world, she's being plucked out of the area that she's lived in for most of her life, and she's experienced certain things that she never experienced before and seeing the world, and we're seeing it through her as well. So it helps because she's knowledgeable, so it kind of fills in the blanks for the people that are watching, but also since she doesn't know everything, it makes things even more exciting to explore. And there's other characters, supporting characters in the show. Her best friend Maul, he's really hard-headed, but in a very positive way, very endearing way, and it gets him to places that he probably shouldn't be in, but also gets him in trouble when he's doing things in battle, because he seems like he thinks he's invincible, which is crazy. He has no powers. He's just a man with a gun. His actions are really great. And then there's the crows. They show the underground, the deep-seated darkness of this world. The leader owns a nightclub called the Crows, and they're basically the home of smugglers and robbers and all the seedy people that come through the town. And his crew, including him, are all very entertaining. I really, really enjoyed their storyline in this show, and each their character arcs, because they each, they're working together and they care about each other, but they're very different and they have different goals. The leader of the Crows, Kaz, he's really great because he's this very serious, very smooth character who has a cane, and you think maybe he's not able, but he's very, very capable when it comes to a fight, creating plans. I really liked his motivations and his determination. He's full of wanting revenge and getting enough money so he can fulfill that. And Nej, who's his right-hand woman, she's an assassin that doesn't like to kill, but the reason why she doesn't like to kill makes sense. And she likes to knock people out, and she's religious, and she believes in all the religions that's in this world, but she's been another person that's been enslaved because she's different. And the way she is, her character arc in this story is very interesting. And then my favorite member of the Crows is Jesper. He's a fun-loving gunsmith who's always cracking a joke, and he's always got a quip, but also knows when to get serious, and has some really incredible action sequences in this show. I want to start off before I get into this next thing that I like, I absolutely hate love triangles. I dislike them in most shows. They're usually drawn out, or it's some unrequited love thing where it's just like, come on, hurry up and get to it. We know you guys like each other. Why are you not doing it? And then when you add a third person in there, it's usually just a distraction for a little while before they realize they need to like each other. But having said all that, the love triangle in this show works because it's not just there so there's some romance in the show. It supports the story. It progresses the story. There's a reason for the love triangle, and it's between Alina Starkov, Maul, and another character, Grisha, who takes her under the wing when she finds out that she has powers. His name is General Kerrigan, and he's the leader of all the Grishas. He is the one that commands everybody, and this is an actor that's playing Kerrigan that's been around for a long time, and he always knocks out of the park when he does his roles, and he knocks out of the park here because in the beginning of the show you get like he has some good intentions, but for some reason the way he moves, you see like there might be some ulterior motives. But the character is fully realized. He's three-dimensional. He's not a goody two-shoes, but he's also not like a villain that's twisting their mustache. He's lying in that gray area, which is really, really great, and he makes him very compelling. And as the series goes on, he starts to unravel more and more, and you see what his plan is. And even though it might not seem very positive overall, you understand where he's coming from. And I always love villains that you always can understand where they're coming from. And with this love triangle, one thing I gotta say is that this show is casted with very attractive people, and especially the main character, Alina Starkov. I don't know what's going on with this actress, but I feel like she has sexual attention with everybody at the show. It's crazy. Let me show you some examples. But besides that, like I said, the love triangle and all the relationships do not detract from the show. They progress it, and some of the themes are going on in the show. They push them forward. Another thing, let's talk about themes and the storyline. There's 3 different converging storylines. We're talking about Alina, who's discovered that she has powers, and she is now being seen as not only that she has power, she's not only just a Grisha, but a rare Grisha that all the Grisha have been waiting for. And now, they've been separated. She's been separated from Maul, and that storyline where they're trying to get back to each other is very interesting. Then they have the storyline with the Crows, who are trying to get enough money so that the leader can get revenge. They have that storyline, and there's a subplot storyline that seems like it's completely out of the story, but it helps build out the world a little bit more. And at the end of the series, at the end of the 8 episodes, all 3 storylines converge. And I love when a show can do that. It doesn't feel like any story threads was just put in there just to give the actors something to do. They all meet towards the end, to this climactic end. And it's really, really great. It's very compelling. And I was never at a point where I was in a part of someone else's story where I felt like, can I get back to Alina? Or can I get back to Jesper? Or can I get back to this other person? I was very intrigued by everything that was going on in each storyline. Let's talk about the bad. I don't have much to say negative about this show. The only thing I say is that it has some pacing issues in the beginning half of the series, especially the first episode. When I was first watching it, I didn't know if I was going to continue because it was jumping all over the place. And plus it was moving a bit slow, but I understood as I continued through the show, there was enough interesting to keep me to watch it. The ending of the first episode was so great that I really wanted to know what was going on, and from then it just kind of takes off from the second episode on. Obviously there's still some pace issues in the episode 2 and 3, but because of the ending of the first episode, I really wanted to know where it was going, and there was enough interesting, the world building was happening leading up to that climactic ending. So just get power through that first episode. You might not have the issues because you might just love the characters right off, but their personalities don't get to be really shown that much in the first episode. But power through that first episode, you're going to be treated to a really good 7 episodes after. Let's talk about the ugly. This is something that's really personal to me in terms of how Black people portrayed, and it's also something I noticed that happens to people who are gay in shows. In terms of sex scenes and sexual tension and relationships, everybody else is, when they show a relationship, is seen so sweet and nice. And a lot of times I see in shows the Black or gay characters or Black gay characters are shown to be promiscuous, and then they show everything that they do and all the raunchiness of it, but then they'll cut away when it's somebody else of a different race. And I noticed this through, I watch a lot of TV, watch a lot of movies, and I noticed that it happens a lot, and it happens here with one of my favorite characters, which it just annoyed me, and it was just something that I hope doesn't plague this show moving forward into season 2, and hopefully other shows can stop. Now let's get to the question block. Guys, whoever or gals, whoever's seen this show or going to watch the show, watch it and come back to this room. Where do you think after the last episode? Where do you think Alina, Maul, the Crows, where do they go? What happens now after what happened in the last episode? And has the Black character gotten too powerful? How can anyone stop them? What do you think of the theories of certain things that they're going to do? Are people who maybe read the book that it's based on? Can you give us some clues? Please, when you comment below, tag it as a spoiler for people who haven't seen the show or don't want to be spoiled. And also follow me on social media. The links will be down below or somewhere on the screen here, and we can continue the conversation. I'm really excited to talk to people about the show. It's so good, and my verdict is going to be a must-watch. If you love fantasy shows, you like The Witcher, Game of Thrones, Cursed, or anything that's like that in those shows, this is a must-watch for you. And even if you're not really into it, I think there's enough here, especially since they don't speak totally in Old English. Maybe if you don't like that part, speak pretty regular, and enough of daring characters that you really jump right into the show and love it. This is my review of Shadow and Bone. I'm really excited about this show. I'm really excited about season 2 happening. That was announced. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of my next video. And as always, peace.